For this week's Wellbeing Wednesday, I want to answer a question that I get most often. Many people are always asking about how do I turn my brain off when it's time to fall asleep? So to talk about that, one of the first things to realize is that throughout the course of the day, there is so much that is happening and going on. Our thoughts are running and racing, life is happening, and we're so go, go, go. We tend as a society to be so busy that we never afford our brain the opportunity to stop and process. What happens is all of that builds up. Just like when you're running from meeting to meeting and you're throwing things on your desk and the stack of papers is getting higher and higher and eventually you have to stop and go through it. Or you've been busy on Zoom calls all day and your inbox is full and now you have to set aside some time to clean out your inbox. We need the same thing with our thoughts. Even good positive things that have happened, our brain needs to be afforded the opportunity to take time to think through and process. However, because we're so busy, we don't give ourselves that time. So then when we crawl into bed at the end of the night and it's the first time that we're alone with our thoughts, scary for many people, that's when the processing starts to happen. But then we're trying to distract our thinking because we're watching TV and listening to podcasts and listening to music and trying to do anything we can to shut off our brain. But what happens is we still have not taken that time to process. So one of the best tips and strategies that I can share with you to really help our brain to decompress and to be able to shut off to go to sleep is something that we talk about as worry time or process time. What I recommend you do is take a notepad and a pen, not technology, nothing with light that can wake up our minds and affect our circadian rhythms. Take a notepad and a pen. On the right-hand side of the page, I want you to write down your to-do list for the next day. I have to go to the dry cleaners, I have to go to the bank, I have to make these phone calls, because we're gonna crawl into bed and we're gonna start thinking through and planning what we're doing for the next day. If we're writing it down, then we don't have to keep thinking about it. Just like when you try to turn off your computer, you get the message that such and such is running in the background, the hardware is ready to shut down, but the software isn't. Our bodies are ready to sleep, but our minds are still racing. So on the right-hand side of the page, write your to-do list for the next day. On the left-hand side of the page, write everything that's running through your mind. I'm worried about my kids, I'm worried about my family, I'm worried about health. What you're gonna do is set a timer starting out for about 5 minutes, and you're gonna write continuously without stopping. That first minute will be those high-level things that we talked about. But then as you keep writing, more and more is gonna come out, and you're gonna be so surprised thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was worrying about that or thinking about that. You'll start problem solving through it. You'll feel exhausted when it's done. You'll take that, set it on the nightstand, and get back into bed. You're gonna feel exhausted, like that really ugly cry or angry yell, and your mind's gonna be empty and you'll be able to fall asleep. If it keeps running and racing, get out of bed and keep writing. Keep doing this as we're training our mind. Just like we train a puppy to potty outside and not inside, and we keep putting it outside, same thing. When your mind starts running and racing, put yourself out of bed to do this writing, set on the nightstand, get back in bed so that your mind learns that it doesn't get to worry in bed. If you wake up in the middle of the night and your mind is running and racing, do the same thing. Don't turn on your computer or your technology and wake up the brain. Write on that sheet of paper, put it down, and then deal with it when you wake up in the morning. You'll be much more effective and efficient when you're completely awake to respond to those issues and those challenges. As it continues and you start writing longer and longer, eventually you won't need to set that alarm and you will just have however much time you need for your brain to really process through, and you'll find that you're sleeping more soundly. Be well.